The Hidden Wife by Amanda Reynolds. Read by Janine Cooper-Marshall. "33 hours missing. Max Blake is pacing his spacious kitchen, his movements clumsy, his demeanour unpredictable. He looks like he hasn't slept. He looks like a man desperate to find his missing wife. He looks like he's lying. Detective Sergeant Katie Ingalls, Catherine to her mother, Katie to everyone else, removes her coat and runs her hands through her unwashed hair as she stifles a yawn. The baby is keeping her up at night, and although she's not the one breastfeeding and her parental leave is long over, she feels obliged to be there for her wife, making tea and watching Netflix at 3 a.m. Today was meant to be her day off, a chance to catch up on some much-needed rest. But despite her exhaustion, she's alert to Max's every move. She catches DC Chris Green's eye, and they exchange a look, in agreement about the husband, it would seem. Max had waited too long to alert them to his wife's absence, and his story is inconsistent. He's hiding something. Quite possibly a body. She walks to the patio doors and looks out. There are too many places to keep secrets at Brook House. It's huge, filled with long corridors lined with locked doors, not to mention the acres of grounds. 24 hours since the call came in, an hour since her DI rang her at home and said he wasn't upgrading the risk assessment, not yet at least, but he decided to bring in CID. It's a high-profile case. He can't afford to take any chances. None of them can. The team has an energy to it. Conversations pass like batons. Everyone eager to get on with the investigation, although the likelihood is they won't find Julia Blake alive and well. It's already been too long. At least the dog handlers are here. She has a good feeling about bringing them in. It will save time, if nothing else. But it's still a near impossible task. DC Chris Green is making tea and trying to keep the husband calm, but Max is agitated, demanding information and reassurance when they can offer neither. Katie's colleague could easily flatten Max Blake if he wanted to. Chris is a big guy, a gym addict, he told her on the drive over, but he appears to favour a softer approach. "You need to sit down, Mr. Blake," Katie reiterates, dragging herself from the view as the dogs head into the wooded area beyond the long sweep of lawn. "Do you have a husband, Detective?" Max demands, walking towards her. "Is he missing?" His face is too close, his blue eyes fixed on her. Chris steps forward and Max backs off. "The search for your wife is ongoing," Chris tells him, his expression splitting into one of his famous grins, a flash of perfect white teeth beneath the sparkly hazel eyes. "Okay if we call you Max." "I really don't care," Max replies, pacing again. "We're doing all we can," Katie tells Max, and he makes a derisory sound in the back of his throat. She resists the urge to do the same. Max Blake, celebrity author and a bit of a wanker if first impressions are anything to go by. What husband goes to bed alone on the night of their 10th wedding anniversary? He didn't even check on his wife's whereabouts until the next morning. His account doesn't stack up. Not to her. She takes a mug of tea from Chris and sips the hot brew. The rain has gathered pace, bouncing off the patio furniture and filling the wine glass left on the table. She can still hear the dogs barking, although they've disappeared from view. "And you've no idea where Julia might be, none whatsoever?" she asks, not bothering to turn round. Max's reflection walks towards her. "Don't you think I'd have told you if I did?" She asks him again to sit down, and to her surprise he does, although he can't keep still, his hands tapping on the scrubbed oak table, his right leg bouncing up and down. He's wearing jeans and a blue-fitted shirt, leather brogues. Her lip curls at how put together he is despite his puffy red eyes. Can you talk me through the last 48 hours? She asks, taking the seat closest to the patio doors. As much detail as possible. Katie watches the dogs emerge from the trees, their noses to the grass as they're guided towards the front of the house. Their next stop should be the outbuildings, a pair of holiday lets and a converted barn located down a fork in the gravel drive. Then the garages at the side of the property. She checks her phone. Still no bloody signal. What are they doing? Max asks, gesturing towards 2 uniformed officers pacing on the grass. Every possibility is being looked into, Mr. Blake, she tells him. For now, you are our best bet. You need to help us to find Julia. I just feel so bloody useless. Max wipes his face with his hands. I can't think straight. Tell me about Saturday, Katie prompts, looking up at Chris. He extracts a notepad from his jacket, then hunches over the kitchen counter, pen in hand. How did you and your wife spend your day? Katie asks, exchanging a look of exasperation with Chris as Max leans his head into his hands. The author's slim wedding band glints back at her. It was your anniversary, I believe. Max lifts his head, his eyes bloodshot. As I've already said more than once, Julia was on the phone whenever I saw her, arranging things for our celebration, caterers, wine, flowers. Mobile phone records would usually be their great hope. They haven't found her handset in the house as yet, so if Julia's used it since midnight on Saturday, it will be their first breakthrough. But as the location of Brook House is so remote, at least a mile from any signal, and the only reliable Wi-Fi disappearing as soon as you step away from the house, the landline records might be their best bet anyway. And your day, Mr. Blake. Tell me what you did on Saturday before the party. Apart from picking up a present for my wife in town first thing, I was in my study writing. I have a set routine. I get up early, work until lunchtime, every day of the week, and most weeks of the year. He glances up as if she should react to this. Julia and I usually have a light lunch together, then I do a few more hours before dinner. Katie's tempted to confess that she's a big fan of his books. It might create a better rapport, massaging Max's not inconsiderable ego, but her DI told her to play it safe. The world will be watching, and it's not her style to ingratiate herself. That's Chris's domain. Your wife took care of all the arrangements for the anniversary party. Yes, Julia is very good at entertaining. Her forte, creative things, photography in particular. Katie had noticed the black and white prints on the walls as she toured Brook House, mostly arty shots of the rooms and grounds. But there was one of Julia on Max's desk that particularly caught her eye. Your wife is a professional photographer. She was studying photography in London when we met, but she left part way through her course. It was something she wanted to go back to in a more serious way. Talking about happier times is settling Max, and it's all useful background information. But the large clock on the kitchen wall is ticking vital seconds away. Katie's limited patience is tested with each lost moment. Your wife is 28 now, so she must have been, 17, 18 when you first met? I'm not aware that's a crime, Max replies, meeting her smile with a cold stare across the table. Not a crime to be almost 20 years older than your spouse, Katie concedes, although she does not say so to Max, but notable. Tell me about the rest of your Saturday. Our dinner guests were due at 7, so I changed, then met Julia outside. He gestures towards the patio. She looked stunning, as always. What was she wearing? Katie asks. I'd bought her a new dress, long and floaty, low-cut. I couldn't take my eyes off her. I remember thinking that after 10 years of marriage, our lives couldn't be more perfect. And she was wearing the necklace, of course. Necklace? Katie glances at Chris and he flourishes his pen as if he's about to knock up a